your girls got you climbing up walls. Man, your life is a mess. You used to wear the pants, now you're wearing a dress. You feel like enough is enough, and you're tired of wearing the handcuffs. Cause you no longer run your own house. You wanna be a man again. Come and join Mouse. Mouse, Mouse, Mouse. What's up, everybody?
What up?
Welcome to the Mouse Show. Men organizing unity to save Earth. Now, today, we got an interesting show.
Yes, we do.
It's a continuation of the very first show.
Yes.
And that's about raising kids.
Ooh,
I felt like we had a lot to talk about.
we had a heck of a lot to talk about.
We didn't get to finish.
Nope.
And so we're going to finish today. But first, I have to say, the opinions expressed today are simply the opinions of me and my brother. They're not the opinions of our friends, family, co-workers, employers, or spouses. So you ready to get into the show, man?
I'm ready to do this like Brutus because we always knew this.
All right.
Yes.
So I want to tell a story first before we get into the show.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. You know, growing up and stuff.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if you ever played this game with me and Wayne, but I can't remember. I know we used to sit in the window and be like, that's my car. Do you remember that?
I remember that.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Me and Wayne was playing that game one day, like, hey, that's my car, that's my car. You know what I'm saying? And one day I saw a Mercedes Benz and I said, that's my car right there. And he's like, what is that? I said, that's a Mercedes Benz. So you know why now I want a Mercedes Benz.
Oh, okay.
My whole entire life I've been wanting a Benz because I saw a car today and it looked so different to me. I was like, wow, I like that. So from that point forward, I've always wanted a Benz. But this is what I was going to say. We didn't have a lot of money growing up, right?
Right.
So I was motivated by just, how am I going to get this car? And so I was like, you know, mom always told us, hey, you got to work. But this is one of the things that made me feel that way. We're outside playing, right? And Eddie Murphy gave his take about the ice cream man.
Yeah. That's famous.
Yeah, I have my take on the ice cream man because every kid goes through this.
Really?
Yeah. So we're outside playing, all the kids, right? After we was doing the, you know, that's my car thing, our mom was like, hey, y'all go outside and play. What y'all doing? You know what I'm saying? So I'm outside playing with some of my friends. And next thing the ice cream man comes and everybody's like, oh, man, they go to ice cream man. Everybody's running to the ice cream truck, but they ain't had no money. So I was like, oh, man, let me go run the house and tell mom, hey, I need some money. I want me some ice cream, too. So I run the house. I'm sweating, you know, tired. You know, mom looked at me and said, boy, what's wrong with you? I said, mom, the ice cream man's outside. Can you give me some money for some ice cream? She looked at me and said, boy, you ain't got no money for no ice cream. You better get out of here. And then I was like, but mom, all my friends, they're getting ice cream. And she says, well, if all your friends ran and jumped off the bridge, are you going to go run and jump off the bridge too?
You sound like something I would have said, too.
Exactly. Then I said, but mom, it's hot. She goes, well, if you were so hot, why didn't you grab that water hose from outside and drink you some of that water off that water hose?
What did you say?
I was like, oh, well, I ain't getting no money for no ice cream. So I walked outside and I noticed when my friends having a good time, he licking his ice cream, you know, having a good old time with ice cream. I'm like, dang, that's jacked up, man. And so he notices something, though. He sees me walking with no ice cream. He does like a double take. Like, he goes, hey, what happened to your ice cream?
What did you say?
I had to lie. I said, man, my ice cream in the house. I got a whole bunch of ice cream. My ice in the house. My mom told me don't bring it outside. That was my excuse.
And he just believed it?
Yeah. But that was a way of me saying in my mind, like, one day I'm going to buy all the ice cream in the world.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Do you eat a lot of ice cream right now?
No, that's the crazy part about it.
Dang.
You can afford it, but then you don't want to eat it all.
Man, that's funny, dude, because I know I get kind of lactose intolerant, so I can't eat a whole bunch of ice cream. I could eat a bowl if I buy like a whatever the size it is now. I could eat a bowl, but then after that, dude, I have to give it away.
Dang. Well, I eat more than that, but
Okay.
I still love ice cream, though. But,
Yeah.
you know, I don't trip off of it the way I did back then. But, yeah, I just wanted to talk about these kids and, you know, how it is with these kids being raised today because they're so out of control.
Yes.
You know, and I was just like talking to a friend at work, my buddy named Dante, and he was telling me that his friend is a school teacher, right? He said that these kids nowadays be smoking weed like it's not a big deal.
I've noticed that too.
At school.
Wow.
We couldn't do stuff like that.
No, that was more like maybe if a few people who did participate in that, they did it at lunchtime behind the bleachers,
Right.
or behind the gym or something like that.
Yeah,
and there was several. It was like a select group of people who did it. It wasn't like everybody did it to look cool,
Exactly.
or to fit in.
Exactly. And I'm like, wow, that's crazy. Like they do it like it's nothing, no big deal. Like it's normal.
Wow.
And you know, I think about stuff like that. And I'm like, this is the reason why we have to get our kids back on the right path. Because they're so disrespectful when it comes to adults. Like they be cursing in front of adults, don't have no problems with cursing.
Nope.
They're smoking weed. And then my buddy was telling me that they be doing this thing called edging. And he sent me a video. You know what edging is?
No.
It's basically masturbating to a point, but before you do the final act, you stop.
Stop edging in my class.
And then you start over again in the classroom.
This is while the teacher is teaching.
Yes, he sent me the video. The teacher's like, hey, no edging in my classroom.
I've never heard of that. That's crazy.
It's crazy, man. They're out
What
of
would
control,
make?
man.
What would make? Like, where did that come from? Well, I kind of have an idea where it comes from, which kind of leads into one of my little first little topics about pieces about that.
Uh-huh.
You know, I think that sexuality is something that they're trying to push on young kids.
They are.
You know, and it's like the identity problem that they're having with, letting kids be free to pick the sex that fits them at the moment. That kind of has something to do with it, I think, man. And also, we have programming and we have other ways that people are encouraged to push an alternative lifestyle.
Yes.
So, I think maybe a little bit that might have something to do with it, with this edging thing, because I've never heard of it.
Yeah, I think that has something to do with it too. And it's sad because we have these things that we keep pushing on our kids. And I know that, I notice in society, like when you keep pushing something on somebody, that they buy into it.
Yeah.
Because have you noticed that all these kids be talking about, oh, my mental health. Everybody got a mental health issue now.
Yeah.
When we were growing up, you never really heard about people having mental health issues.
Not really. We would use a word. I don't even know if I can say that word. Should I say that word?
I don't know what the word is.
Okay, it starts with the R and the E.
Oh, no, don't say it.
So we would use that word describing kids who were a little different than everybody else, right? But it was only a few here and there.
That's it.
It wasn't like, you didn't have like a class full of them
Exactly.
who used that excuse because something was going on with them mentally.
Yeah. Everybody uses that excuse now.
Yeah.
I even heard in the prisons, like the young guys that's coming in, they all got mental health issues. They all need to take something, and something's wrong.
Man, and you know what? It's interesting because the system that we have for kids that need to be adopted, that's taken care of by the state. I think like about 60% of those kids are on some form of medication.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a hell of a lot.
That's what I'm saying. It wasn't like that before.
No, and I think nationwide in the adoption field, I think there's nationwide there's like about maybe 300,000 or 400,000 kids that could be adopted. But I know the state of California, I believe it's like 60-70% that are on some form of medication.
See, that's a lot of kids, man.
Yeah.
Why are we trying to medicate everybody?
Well, I can tell you one thing. This is not having to do exactly with what we're talking about, but I think the pharmaceutical companies are making a lot of money off that.
Oh, of course.
So that's one reason.
They definitely are making a lot of money.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's a good way to raise kids by drugging them to death. You know what I mean?
Nah.
That's not good.
No.
You keep having all these overdoses and stuff happening. I mean, why do you think that is?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. But I was going to say, too, the way we're raising our kids today, man, this is why you see all these things like car chases. Every day there's a car chase.
Yeah.
Because if a person had respect for authority, they would just pull over.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be a big deal. But now everybody has to run from the police. Everybody has to. Do you see this thing where people don't stop at stoplights and stop signs?
I've seen it. I've witnessed it darn near every day.
Exactly. This is almost an everyday thing. I never used to see people run lights and stop signs. For those of you who don't know, red means stop. You're not supposed to go through the red light or the stop sign.
Right.
I get tired of that, man, because now you're jeopardizing me and my well-being. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't know how to follow orders. And that gets on my nerves, man.
On a comment you just made before that, though, when you were talking about you were talking about car chases, right?
Yes.
I think that the O.J. Simpson trial started that. Because you really didn't see that a lot until that was televised. I mean, you saw it every now and again, but that kind of started that being a thing on television when somebody's being chased. And now we have a whole generation of kids that have been watching stuff like that, and they think it's cool to do.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting. And another thing that's interesting to me is, you know, how people do donuts. Like if you at an intersection, right? And there's a four-way intersection, a major intersection. If the light turns green, there could be a youngster in a car who decides to pull in front of everybody and do donuts in that intersection so no one could go anywhere.
Yep.
They'll do like 3 or 4 donuts and then take off. That's crazy, man. Like,
I know. I think that I don't think it has nothing to do with the OJ thing. You know, I think that's probably part of it. But
okay,
you got to think a lot of them weren't even born when that happened. So they do these streets takeovers, like what you're saying, because you know out here that happens a lot where they take over the whole street, and it ain't just one person; a bunch of people get involved with these doing donuts, and they block all the traffic.
Yeah,
that's like, I think, just not being a disciplined person. Because why in the world would you in your mind say, you know what, let's take over this street and just do donuts right here? Like, that don't even make any sense.
you know, where I live, not too far, like on the west side in LA, you know, it's crazy because I know what's along with the donuts and stuff, there'll be a whole bunch of kids, like maybe about 30 of them that ride dirt bikes. Motor dirt bikes are supposed to be for wherever they ride those, right? But there are kids now, they'll take over the whole street going to the beach.
Yes.
And there's 30 of them. And if you try to pull in front of them, they'll do something like they'll damage your car, try to hit your mirror off or that's along with the same little donut crew. They're all in the same.
Yeah, I've been seeing that too.
Yeah.
It's a problem. That's what I'm saying. I think it's about no respect. You know what I mean? They're not being raised to have respect for people and people things or anything like that. I be seeing people fighting the police now. You never see that.
No.
They be trying to go head up with the police.
Yeah.
They be like, what's up? You know, like, for real.
Yeah.
People used to never do that, man.
No.
And now it's a very bad problem. And we have to do something about getting these kids back on track. We keep trying to act like we're friends with our kids and we don't want to discipline our kids. We have to get back to disciplining our kids so that they can start having respect for adults and, you know, the things that adults stand for. You know what I'm saying? Because we're raising you. You're not raising us.
That's a major problem right there, because that's like you're not really disciplining them at all in any kind of way. And everybody needs to be disciplined. Even adults need to be disciplined. That's why they have red lights and green lights.
Exactly.
Is because everybody needs some form of something to slow them down.
Yeah.
Some law to abide by. This is not the Wild Wild West.
Exactly. I feel like if you don't feel like you have to respect your mother and father, you're not going to respect other people. That's what I think the problem is. Where they don't mind fighting the cops and stuff like that because they don't have respect for their mother. They're in their home. They don't have respect their home. So, of course, they're going to go out there and act crazy with everybody else because you're acting crazy in the house all the time.
Yeah.
But I was going to say another story real quick. I remember growing up, you know, our mom used to put the belt on our butts.
Yes.
When it was time to, she did it, and she didn't have a problem with it. And I remember one day our brother Wayne was getting his butt whooped. So she's whooping him. He falls on the ground. You know, he's flaring all over the place, kicking it up in the air. She hits him right between the legs.
Like right in between the male part, part of his leg.
Yeah, he's like, "Mama, you hit me in my balls, Mama." You know what she said?
What?
So.
That sounds like something Mom would say too.
That was our mother.
Yeah.
She did not care.
No.
She's like, "You gonna take this butt whooping?"
Yeah.
And that's just the way it was.
And you know, it's funny because I remember, you know, you guys probably got the grunt of it. Like you, like Terry, you and Wayne probably got the grunt of it.
Yep.
And by the time she got to me and Tracy, you know, she didn't have as much energy. But
Yeah.
I remember a few really, really bad whoopings. And I just remember she didn't care where she was swinging the belt.
She did not care.
Yeah, I mean, I remember getting hit in the face, I mean, in the neck,
Yep.
in the lip,
Yeah.
and like wherever it landed is where it landed. But
Yeah.
I can honestly say though, I've never gotten a whooping that I didn't deserve.
Exactly. And that's the thing about people now, like these young people, they don't even accept punishment for anything. And that's because they're not getting disciplined their whole entire lives. They don't want to get punished for nothing, man. They think if you punish for something, you know, they wonder like, why are you punishing them? Like it's not supposed to happen. And that's not life. It's not how life works, man. You have to accept when you do things wrong and say, you know what, I was wrong in this situation. I mean, as a kid, you don't see it. But when you grow up as an adult, you realize like, well, I was wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was gonna say too, my buddy was telling me these kids also be using Chat GPT to do assignments.
Chat GPT.
Yeah, that's you know, you can go online like an AI type of thing and say, hey, type up this paper for me for this assignment I got to do, and boom, 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 it types it up for you, and they turn it in.
Wow. So there's no thinking anymore.
No thinking.
Nobody wants to think.
Nobody wants to think. I mean, a lot of times the teachers might catch it.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's like so much is not done anymore to the kids. They get away with a lot of this stuff.
I wonder if they even try to edit it, because you know how, you know, those the AI is going to make it look, it's going to be
Perfect.
pretty. Yeah. So I'm wondering if the teachers have any, I mean, I know they probably have a whole bunch of students they have to grade papers for,
Yeah.
but I wonder if they ever question if they see a paper that was written by
No,
Chat.
they do. They do.
Okay,
question.
then what happens?
That's what my buddy was saying. And it's like, that's what I mean. Like, there's not a lot being done to these kids for the punishment part. They'll sit there and just lie and say, no, I did type it up, and that's it. And, you know, because, like, you know how, like, going to the principal was a thing when we were growing up.
Yes.
Now, I don't even think it's a big thing no more to go to the principal. You know, like, they have cell phones and stuff. They be on their phones. And, as a matter of fact, the governor of California was talking about he was going to try to eliminate kids having phones in the class, which he should do.
Yeah, I think so.
Because they're able to go on their phones and research stuff and do tests and all kind of stuff.
Yeah, they can.
And you shouldn't be able to do that, man.
You know, I never thought about that, dude, but all they got to do is go in their phone and look up something and they can pass the test without even studying. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure if we had that tool when we probably would have used it, maybe not as much as they do.
Right.
But we probably would have used it if we had to cram for a test.
Yeah.
If we didn't have time to study or we didn't have time to write a paper, we probably would have used it a little bit.
Maybe.
Maybe.
But they use it like it's not a big deal, man.
Dang.
And that's what's hurting things and hurting society. And we need to get back to doing things the way that they used to be done. But I want to say something else too. I remember like another thing, and I'm bringing up all these past things that our moms used to do because those things worked for us. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of parents would just wait too. I remember before we went to the store, your mom would take us to the store. She would give you a warning. Before we go inside the store, do not ask for nothing. And you didn't ask.
Yeah.
Do not touch nothing. And you did not touch.
When we get over here, get somewhere and sit down. Don't talk to me. Don't look at me. Don't think about me because I'm grown. I'm going to be with the grown folks. You go be with the kids. Understand this. When I say it's time to go, it's time to go. Don't ask, can you stay the night? You cannot. Don't ask, can they come back over here and stay the night? They cannot. Don't get over here acting like you hungry, like you ain't ate all day. If you do, I'm going to knock fire out of your throat. Don't touch nothing. Don't break nothing. Don't ask for nothing to drink. Don't ask for nothing to eat. Lisa Ann already think her kids is better than everybody else, and they are not. If one of them touch you, you better knock their head off their shoulder. Don't come in there tattling to me about what you think, what you want, and how you feel. When we get ready to go, I tell you how you feel. Is everybody on the same page? Don't play with me.
These kids now, you hear them asking their mom for something 1,000 times.
Yeah.
The mother gives in.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
That's ridiculous, dude.
It's ridiculous, man.
I see it a lot too, man.
Yeah, it's a problem.
Yeah, and you know, kids are, when they don't get what they want, some of the younger ones who may be able to still sit inside the basket at the store,
Yep.
they'll start like yelling and
Yeah.
they'll act like they having a seizure.
They do.
And I'm like, you know, like, where is the father, or like, what is going on? Because even if he's not there, the child should know how to act when he's told no.
Yes, they should. But they don't. And it's a problem.
That's a big problem.
I seen this girl with this kid one day, man. The kid was screaming at the top of his lungs. He wanted something. She was trying to hurry get out the store like she was embarrassed. I'm like, well, that's your kid.
Yeah.
You're the one not disciplining the kid. You know, she's like, shh, trying to shush him, trying to rush out the store. I'm like, that means, imagine what he acts like at home.
Yeah.
He's throwing a fit in public and don't even care. So can you imagine what he acts like, man?
Dude, I remember back in the day, dude, you would get punched or hit real hard no matter who saw it.
Exactly.
And nobody would report it or anything like that.
No, they did not.
They knew that it was child discipline.
Exactly. And
That
I know, like,
was needed.
when I used to take my kids to get something to eat, this is another thing. I meant to say this on the show. things that get on my nerves. I didn't mention it. I hate when people go to a fast food restaurant and they don't know what they want. How many times have you been to this restaurant?
Yeah.
And then don't let them have 4 or 5 kids and they ask each kid what they want. It's gonna take forever.
Yeah, man. When I am in a drive-through behind a van and I know kids are in it,
Yeah.
I'll just park and go inside.
Yeah.
Because it's going to take a long time
Exactly.
for that person to go through the order of everybody in the car because they're not going to know what they want. And then after they order, they're going to change their order.
Yeah.
So usually I'll either drive away somewhere else or I'll drive and park and walk inside the restaurant.
You know what I should do with my kids? I would ask them, do you want a burger, nuggets, or nothing? That was your 3 choices.
Really?
I ain't had time for all that, man. You know what I mean? Either you was hungry or you wasn't. So if you really was hungry, you would have chose right then and there.
Yeah.
'Cause we ain't going through all this. I want a burger. No. Do they put mustard? I don't want mustard. I want ketchup. No, I don't want ketchup. I want some cheese. No, I don't want cheese. I ain't got time for all that. You know what I mean?
No.
You can take stuff off when we get home if you don't want it on there. But you just tell me what you want. And if you don't want something, I'm going to order myself. I ain't going to order you nothing. That's it.
Yeah.
And that's the way it should be.
Yeah, because you're the parent.
Yep.
You know, and you maybe in some cases they can get a choice of what they want, but in some cases they don't, and which is most cases they don't deserve to get exactly what they want because you're the parent, you paying for it, you're the child.
Exactly. And so, you know, I'll say, you going to make up your mind, I'll make up your mind for you. That's the way it worked for me, you know what I'm
Makes
saying?
sense to me.
I mean, to save a lot of trouble, I bet you that.
Man, I wish relationships worked that way.
Man, that would be nice, right?
Yeah, it sure would be.
Man. So do you have a bonehead today?
Man, yes I do, man.
So that means
Yes,
it's time for what?
the bonehead segment. Yeah, man, I have a bonehead for this one, dude. And it's interesting, man, because we were discussing a little bit about kids, and we were discussing about how, well, I had mentioned a couple of things about how some kids might be swayed a little bit by what they see in the media and on television and in books about, you know, questioning their own sexuality.
Yes.
So this bonehead goes out to a woman who during her teenage years, she felt out of touch with her gender.
Okay.
She was always a tomboy. She preferred pants and long shirts with sneakers growing up. So one day she was watching YouTube and she got inspired by a female transitioning to a male story,
Okay.
right? So she was around 16 or 17 at the time. So she was too young to do anything herself about it, right? So when she started to transition even more as a male, outside of just dressing like a tomboy, right? But by the time she turned 18, she wanted to start transitioning to a male, in real life.
Okay.
So at the age of 19, she had a double mastectomy, which is taking off both of your breasts, you know? And so for the first time in her life, she felt free, right? So by the age of 22, she began to question her decision, right? So she had friends in the community, BDQ community, who thought that she was a trans woman all along. They thought that she was a man trying to be a woman. They never thought that she was actually a transition one, right?
Right.
So this actually made her feel stuck between two identities. So she felt like she was living a double life. So you know exactly what she did, right?
What?
So she started transitioning back to a female.
No.
Yes. Now her breasts are gone, but she's transitioning back to a female, and the people in the LGBTQ community kind of like, some of those people didn't want to be our friend anymore.
Wow.
Yeah, so she slowly transitioned back to a woman, and now she's living her life as a woman, and she feels fulfilled now. She feels really fulfilled.
See, this is why, to me,
Yeah.
you should not let your kids, you know, do stuff that's going to be like life altering.
Yeah.
You should let them wait until they get to an age where, you know, I mean, you can't do nothing once they turn 18, but I'm just saying, like, while they're still a teenager, you should let them do nothing.
And the thing about it, man, is like, you know, how many times you wanted something as a child, and after you got it, you played with it for a few times, and then you didn't want it no more.
Oh, that happens
It's
all
just
the
like a
time.
momentary feeling that
That's
you
it.
might have.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't know what made her feel that she maybe, who knows what kind of household she grew up in, but I don't know what made her uncomfortable about her own sexuality. But that's just weird that she actually went through it at such a young age.
Yeah, that
right?
is.
So now, you know, she's hearing backlash from people on social media. Some people are supporting her and some people aren't, but she's happy with her decision. But going through all of that at a young age and not giving herself time after she turned an adult, I'll give this woman the Bonehead Award. Ma'am, you get the bone. Well, he, she, now a ma'am, you get the Bonehead Award.
Oh, well.
Yeah. Yeah.
She deserves it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is something else.
Yeah. It's interesting, man, because I never thought about that or never thought about putting on any high heels or anything like that. But, you know, even if I had an injury and the doctor said if you did this surgery, you might not be 100%, but it'll help you. I would have a problem with getting a surgery on my knee about something.
Yeah.
So you talking about an entire change of your body?
That's major.
That's a huge decision.
That's major.
It's something like what you just said that you can't come back from.
No.
Like not like that.
No.
Yeah.
Because it can't even be the same. Like, say, for instance, like, she had a breast removed, she had to put back. That probably ain't going to be the same because they're going to be fake now, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. That's kind of weird, but, you know, I was going to say something. I was going to tell you this heck of a thing right now.
What?
They need to subscribe to the channel.
Ah, yes. You guys out there, I know you guys love liking our content, man, because some of you guys are feeling the exact same way we do about these topics, even though, you know, you might not be able to express it, but you in the man cave, so you should be okay. So you guys make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and share to Mouse ENT.
You don't want to miss out on this good stuff we got coming up.
No, we got a whole bunch of stuff. Good stuff.
You're going to be mad at yourself when you don't subscribe and people be like, hey, did you see the Mouse Show? And they start telling you about it. You're going to be like, oh, man, I ain't want to know about it. Should subscribe first.
Yep.
That way you could have been on top of your thing.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
And be the first one to know about what's going down.
Exactly.
Yes.
So, you know, I recommend it.
Yeah, me too. Highly.
So, yeah, man, we're going to get into the 10 mouse commandments. Do you know yours by heart?
I do know them, but I probably have to have you launch it so I could go into it. I know mine. Do you know yours?
Yeah, but
Okay.
you're number one.
Okay. Oh, I am number one. See, I forgot that quick. Mouse commandment number 1, thou shalt not ever let a woman tell you how to drive.
Mouse commandment number 2, thou shalt not ever hold your woman's purse while she's shopping.
No, don't do that.
Don't do it. You know, people be trying to give excuses. Oh, man, you know, she tries to go to the dressing room, whatever. Nah, come on, man.
Oh, man.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
She can take her purse in the dressing room with her. Like, this girl told me, well, sometimes you might want, you don't want to put your purse down on the ground. That's why you ask the man to hold it. Well, don't bring one.
Right. And
It'll make it a lot easier.
And I think some women might try to use that as a badge of honor too. Look, my man holding my purse.
Exactly.
You know, other women, wherever you are in the mall or in a restaurant somewhere.
Creatures, man.
Yeah, yeah, they got more game than the man will ever have.
That's the little test. They be like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna see if he gonna hold my purse.
Yep. And some dudes fall for it.
They fall for it. Then next thing you know, they're gonna be asking you to do all kind of other stuff.
Yep.
So,
well, most of these dudes probably watching right now probably know what that feels like, because I'm sure a lot of them ain't got nothing hanging down there. It been castrated.
it's sad if that's true.
I think it is, bro. And to be happy in this century, in this United States, you probably gonna, most people, not you or me, but most of them gonna have to. They gonna have to concede. Wow. Believe me. Mouse commandment number 3: thou shalt not ever, 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 even during breast cancer month, wear pink.
Thou shalt not ever wear skinny jeans or sag pants past your butt.
No.
I don't know why people do that. Like, it gets on my nerves, man. When I see it, I'm like, who in their mind said this looks so cool?
I don't know.
Because I don't see it.
Well, I don't know. Somebody started it and then other people copied and it just kept on going from there.
Of course. Because I know, like, back in the day, we used to sag, barely sag. You know, now this past their butts.
Like, you would barely see like the top lining of somebody's drawers. You would never see under that. You would see like the little belt part, the little strap.
That's it.
And that was it.
Yeah, they're going way overboard.
But now half of your rear end showing, that's crazy, man.
That is crazy.
Man, mouse commandment number 5, thou shalt not ever say happy wife, happy life.
Mouse commandment number 6, thou shalt not ever wear makeup, fingernail polish, or women's underwear.
Man, I was just saying a few minutes ago, like, who would want to,
in your mind, like, let me put these underwear on to see what it feels like.
Man, that's, dude, I don't even want to think about that, dude. That's crazy, man. Man, mouse commandment number 7, thou shalt not constantly text or call your woman to check in.
That's another one.
Yeah.
Let me see what I can get him to do.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell him to call me on his breaks. They probably the main ones doing stuff too. You know that?
Some of them are.
Yeah.
You know, I don't understand, dude, why you got to call your woman when you leave work, when you go to the grocery store, when you go to the gas station, when you go to the bar with your buddies, and then you got to call her, be like, I'm on my way home. You call her, I'm in the driveway. You call her, I'm at the front door.
You know?
Then I'm next to you.
Yeah, I'm in the house.
Yeah, like some guys, I work with dudes that do that, man.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's ridiculous.
Hey, man, that's sad.
That don't make any
Did you
sense.
tell them to watch the Mouse Show?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I did. They haven't watched it yet.
See?
They can't get away from their woman.
They don't want to take the balls out the purse. That's their problem. They need to, but they don't want to. They too scared to probably do that.
Yeah, I'm sure they are.
Man, which leads to Mouse Commandment number 8. Thou shalt not ever give your woman the password to your cell phone. That's another one.
Man, you know what trips me out, dude?
What's
what
that?
trips me out is when a grown man calls me and it's a woman's name.
Yeah.
It's his girl's name. Like, dude, like there are just some things as an adult you should have that's not part of your relationship.
That's true.
Like, well, how you gonna be calling one of your best friends you've been knowing for like 30 years and it's your girl's phone, your girl's name that pops up?
I know, man.
That's weird to me, dude.
You know, they woman said something to him. They probably was like, hey, what's the password to your cell phone? They just gave, oh, here you go. And if you don't want to give it to them, like, oh, what, you cheating or something?
Man, but who would want to, like, you know, that's the reason why we got these commandments while we doing the show, man, because because you decide to marry, I'm not saying anything wrong with being married, but just because you decide to be married or be in a relationship, that doesn't give up the fact that you are an adult.
Your individuality.
Yeah.
You're still
shouldn't
your
have
own man. You're
yeah.
supposed to be anyway.
Yeah, you shouldn't have to conform that shouldn't be a part of it at all.
Shouldn't.
It should be because you guys want to be together and she can add to your life, but you shouldn't give your whole life away like that.
Do you feel like some of these dudes will be messing around? They made a lot of mistakes, so they feel like they have to do it
I
to
think
make
that
the woman feel better.
I think some dudes are like that, but I think most of them, man, they just give her too much power,
They do.
and that's how it turns into that.
But you know, the crazy part is they will swear that they're not weak.
Yeah,
But you have to be a weak person to be like doing all these things your woman said that she wants you to do.
yeah,
Because if she's doing everything that you want her to do,
nope.
exactly.
There ain't a woman on earth that I've ever been with who didn't do what she wanted to do, even if I had asked her not to because it was in her best interest not to do it.
Exactly.
So nah,
That's the problem.
Mouse commandment number 9: Thou shalt not let his woman, speaking of which, ever treat him like a child.
Yeah, 'cause a lot of this does sound like you're being treated like a child.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
And that ain't good. I don't even see how you feel right. I don't see how you feel right, man, because I can't let nobody just tell me what to do. And I'm like, okay, baby. Like, you know what I'm saying?
No, I ain't going for it, man. Like
I'm not going for it.
I've been living by myself too long, man. And I think marriage is great. Relationships are great. It's a beautiful thing if you can find somebody, if you can find that connection.
Yeah.
What people call it soulmates or whatever you call it or wherever you have. If you can find that, I think it's a beautiful thing. But in that scenario, none of these mouse commandments going to apply.
No.
If I ever met a soulmate, none of these mouse commandments going to apply to me. And if they were requiring these to apply to me, man, it's 8.5 billion people on this planet, homie. I'll meet somebody else.
But let me ask you this. Why is that you have to give in to all these things that somebody wants you to do? Why you can't be an individual just because you're married?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You should still be able to be an individual person.
Yep.
You know, you was born by yourself, wasn't you?
Yep.
You're going to die by yourself.
Yes, you are.
So why can't you be an individual just because you're married to somebody? You have to be an individual person. It doesn't make sense to me.
Nope.
And finally, mouse commandment number 10. Turn your TVs up for this one,
What? Way up.
or your computer volume.
Hit it. Way up.
Thou shalt not ever. Shall I do one more ever?
One more. Ever.
Wife up a woman with a high body count.
Man. Dude, it's crazy, man. You know, I mean, there are some women who are into adult content, like adult movies.
Right.
And after their career over with, some of them get married, dude.
Who's marrying these women?
I mean, probably the nerd who actually bought her movies.
Yeah. Probably can never get a girl like that.
Oh, man, I couldn't even imagine that. I mean, I don't even want to think about it, dude.
Wait, but do you know what the crazy part about that is, right? They're probably not even giving their husband the same type of loving that they were giving to the dudes on screen.
If you decide to wife up a woman who did adult content, she should never say, I'm tired or not tonight.
Never.
Because what they ask you to do, because women get paid more than men in that industry.
They do.
What they've asked you to do in the back, in the front, and every pretty much hole you got, you should never tell your husband no
And you
to
should be able
anything.
to let him do whatever he wants.
Whatever he
You
wants.
should have no objections to nothing.
Nope.
As a matter of fact, when you said you should never say happy wife, happy life, I forgot to say my saying.
What's that?
Plenty of loving makes a happy husband.
Yes. Yes,
And this
sir.
definitely applies what we're talking about right now.
Yep.
So all you ladies out there, think about making your husband happy for a change. It ain't always about you.
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying?
I know he looking at his girl sitting right next to him, or she looking at him.
Is he
But
nervous?
he probably don't want to look at her
Exactly.
because he agree with us. He agree with us, but he just looking at it probably like one of those like looks on his face.
She probably like, don't you even think about it.
Yeah, yeah.
He all shaking in his boots.
Yeah, oh, I know he is.
Watch this show.
Yeah, better watch it.
And then you might be able to take the balls out the person.
Yeah, man. You ain't swinging down there no more, player. You got a chance to get him back though.
Yeah, we're trying to help you.
Yep.
So anyway, if you're going by these 10 mouse commandments, I must say that you are a very smart man, despite what your woman says. Because you know your woman's probably saying, don't listen to that.
Yeah, that's like, oh yeah, that's what she's saying.
You know, but you really should.
She probably texting her girls right now and trying to get their little club together.
I don't like these mouse dudes. You know what I'm saying? But it's
Yeah.
okay. You know, because we're going to be who we are.
Yep.
Because we have them hanging down low.
You know.
So we're going to keep doing what we do.
Yeah.
But if you want to be a man again,
Come and join Mouse.